Donald Trump's presidency was one of the most controversial in American history. From his campaign rhetoric to his policies, he was constantly at the center of a storm. Here are 10 of the most controversial moments of his presidency. Inauguration crowd-sized dispute. Even before officially taking office, controversy surrounded Donald Trump when he insisted that the crowd at his inauguration was the largest in history. This assertion was quickly debunked by photographic evidence and crowd size estimates, which clearly showed smaller attendance compared to Barack Obama's 2009 inauguration. The dispute set the tone for Trump's contentious relationship with the media and his propensity to challenge established facts. This incident raised concerns about Trump's truthfulness and his administration's approach to disseminating information. It set a precedent for the ongoing battles over fake news and alternative facts that characterized his presidency. Travel ban and immigration policies. One of the earliest and most polarizing policy decisions of the Trump presidency was the executive order known as the travel ban. This order, issued in January 2017, temporarily suspended entry into the United States for citizens of several predominantly Muslim countries. Critics argued that it amounted to religious discrimination, while supporters contended it was necessary for national security. The travel ban faced numerous legal challenges and sparked widespread protests at airports across the country. Eventually, it went through multiple iterations and court battles, with the Supreme Court upholding a revised version in 2018. Trump's immigration policies, including family separations at the border and efforts to end the DACA program, also ignited heated debates over humanitarian concerns and immigration reform. Charlottesville. Very fine people on both sides. In August 2017, a white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, turned violent, resulting in the death of Heather Heyer, a counter-protester. Donald Trump's response to the event stirred controversy when he claimed there were very fine people on both sides and hesitated to unequivocally condemn white supremacists. Critics argued that Trump's remarks equivocated on the issue of white supremacy and failed to provide the moral leadership expected from a president. Supporters, on the other hand, defended his comments as an attempt to address the broader issue of violent clashes at protests. The incident raised questions about Trump's stance on racism and extremism. Firing of FBI Director James Comey. In May 2017, President Trump abruptly fired FBI Director James Comey, who was leading an investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and possible ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. The timing of Comey's dismissal raised suspicions, as it occurred just weeks after Comey confirmed the existence of the Russia investigation. Trump's decision to remove Comey led to accusations of obstruction of justice and prompted the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller to conduct an independent investigation. The Mueller report, released in April 2019, did not establish a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, but did outline instances of potential obstruction of justice by the president. Impeachment, Ukraine scandal. In December 2019, the House of Representatives impeached Donald Trump on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The impeachment centered on a phone call in which Trump asked Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden, his political rival, and his son Hunter Biden. The impeachment trial in the Senate, which took place in early 2020, ended with Trump's acquittal, largely along partisan lines. The controversy surrounding the Ukraine scandal highlighted the deep political divisions in the country and raised questions about the use of presidential power for personal gain. COVID-19 response. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020 presented a significant challenge to the Trump administration. Critics argued that the president downplayed the severity of the virus, promoted unproven treatments, and often contradicted public health experts. His reluctance to wear a mask in public and his push to reopen the economy quickly also drew criticism. The Trump administration's handling of the pandemic became a major point of contention during the 2020 presidential election. Supporters praised his Operation Warp Speed initiative, which accelerated vaccine development, while opponents pointed to the high death toll and widespread economic disruption. Racial justice protests and Lafayette Square. In the summer of 2020, the United States witnessed a wave of protests following the killing of George Floyd, an unarmed black man, by a Minneapolis police officer. These protests called for an end to racial injustice and police brutality, and they spread across the nation. Controversy erupted when federal law enforcement officers forcefully cleared peaceful protesters from Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C., to allow President Trump to walk to a nearby church for a photo op with a Bible. Critics argued that the use of force against peaceful demonstrators violated their First Amendment rights and was a symbol of authoritarianism. The incident further deepened divisions over issues of race, policing, and freedom of assembly. Acquittal in second impeachment trial. Donald Trump made history as the first U.S. president to be impeached twice. The second impeachment, which occurred in January 2021, charged him with incitement of insurrection following the storming of the U.S. Capitol by a mob of his supporters. The attack on the Capitol resulted in several deaths and the evacuation of Congress during the certification of the 2020 election results. The Senate trial, held after Trump had left office, once again ended in acquittal, though it saw a bipartisan vote with 7 Republican senators joining Democrats in favor of conviction. The trial further highlighted the deep political divisions within the Republican Party and the nation as a whole. Handling of climate change and environmental policy. Throughout his presidency, Donald Trump rolled back numerous environmental regulations and withdrew the United States from the Paris Agreement, an international accord aimed at addressing climate change. He often expressed skepticism about climate science, leading to criticism from environmentalists and scientists. The Trump administration's approach to environmental policy was divisive, with supporters applauding deregulation as a means to spur economic growth, while opponents argued that it undermined efforts to combat climate change and protect natural resources. Trump's decisions in this area had long-term implications for U.S. environmental policy, pardons, and commutations. In his final days in office, President Trump issued a flurry of pardons and commutations, including some highly controversial choices. Notably, he pardoned political allies and associates, such as former campaign chairman Paul Manafort and advisor Roger Stone, who had been convicted of crimes related to the Mueller investigation. Critics saw these pardons as a misuse of presidential power to protect loyalists, while supporters argued that they rectified perceived injustices. The use of presidential pardons for political purposes raised concerns about accountability and the rule of law. Conclusion: Donald Trump's presidency was marked by an array of controversial moments that left a lasting impact on the United States and its political landscape. From disputes over crowd sizes and travel bans to impeachment trials and responses to racial justice protests, his tenure was characterized by polarization and division. Trump's unconventional approach to governance, unfiltered communication style, and willingness to challenge established norms. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.